Belinda Medellin, who is a master teacher and the designer of the country's first high school level. You'll have to correct me if I get this wrong, but the first high school level UX design course uh, that's been created. And she's down in San Antonio, Texas, at the Tech High School. And we're here just to talk about what she's been doing at Tech High School, learn a lot more about what her students are learning, not just in this UX course that she's created, but in their schoolwork to get them ready for their careers and what they're doing around CTE courses and things like that. So Belinda, thank you so much for taking time to join us this evening. I know evenings are precious time and times with families and friends and time to relax, but I'm super excited to hear from you and learn more about what you're doing at your school in San Antonio.
No problem. Thank you for the opportunity. So I just want to give everyone a little bit of background of what Tech High School is. We are actually a in-district charter. So we were created with the San Antonio Independent School District with the charter network of the CAST network, which stands for Centers of Applied Science and Technology. And it was where the tech industry in San Antonio came together with the CAST network because they wanted to fill a need to find skilled tech workers right out of high school. So it was school meeting industry coming together with creating the model that we have now. And one of the standouts is that our students choose a pathway. So it's almost like a magnet school, but we offer junior and senior year internship levels at the high school level. So the adults could understand how valuable that is. The students, the new juniors, are just starting to see that. So that is why we were created, and this is our third year in existence. So the freshmen that we started off with, like I said, they are now juniors, and we're trying to innovate not only to help education, but in the programs, we started off with digital media, computer science, and business. And seeing the need, excuse me, in San Antonio, we changed those to business still as a pathway, cybersecurity, and now user experience design. So we created a whole 4-year pathway for that coursework, and that's where we're at right now. So the kids are liking it so far, and the tech industry is liking it as well.
That's awesome. It sounds fascinating. And certainly if you have students that really are excited about these course pathways and these pathways of learning, they're probably a unique experience. I'm curious, Belinda, can you talk to us about the reasons why, the reasons why the school was set up the way it is and the role you guys play with the local business community? I mean, imagine that plays into kind of the way your school operates and a little bit of the experience the students have.
Oh, yes, completely. Well, we are a smaller school, so we take any student from anywhere around San Antonio. So it's ran by a lottery, and a lot of magnet schools in the San Antonio area. I think there's about 17 independent school districts, but a lot of them work this way that if a student from outside of the school district wants to try to be part of the school, then they're in the lottery.
Right.
We have, I think our farthest student is from a place called Bandera, Texas, which is about an hour away, and they drive to come here.
Wow.
So they're very dedicated. But what's great about this model here is we're not trying to compete with any other school. We're just trying to give students opportunities. And with having such a close relationship with industry partners, we as teachers are able to pinpoint what opportunities are actually out there. Whereas I used to teach in regular public school and CTE courses, and I've always been able to be connected with industry partners in some way. But here we have meetings quite often with them. So there's a board with industry members who help create the school. So
Right.
we give them feedback and they give us feedback on how we can grow the students to be the type of workers that they need. And then they give us feedback on how we can integrate maybe our core subjects into the business world or the cybersecurity world, in the UX world.
Awesome. That's really awesome. What that it just sends such a great partnership. And one of the things we want to talk about is how this all comes together and the way your students are presenting themselves and the role that digital portfolios play in their whole learning experience. But before we jump all the way forward to that part of the story, let's talk a little bit about why, I know that your school, your students do use Bulb digital portfolios. I think I'm just curious to learn a little bit more too about, why did you start looking at digital portfolios? Was there a reason you went down this path for your students?
Yes, well, in the charter that was created with the guidance of the industry partners, they had stated that our students have to graduate with a digital portfolio. So before I was hired, before the school was open, that was set in stone. And like I said, we are an in-district charter, so we still work with SAISD. They still have the graduate requirements, but these are the little extras that help the students. So the first year as teachers, we knew we had to prepare them for that.
Right.
And I went to the Texas Computer Education Association, TCEA conference 2 years ago, and I was looking for anything that could help my students. And honestly, digital portfolios were in the back of my mind. I knew we had to do them, but as a multimedia teacher, I knew maybe we can do a website or something to help fulfill that need. And I was walking by and saw a beautiful display, all in white and just very vibrant blue. And I asked, what is this bulb? And the presenter presented it extremely well, the digital portfolios. And the more I heard, the more I was excited that this is the tool that we needed to help fulfill that requirement that was mandated to us. But it's so simple and sleek that as a multimedia teacher, it looked exciting for me to actually showcase my students, because usually in CTE and stuff like multimedia, we're used to doing portfolios, but for maybe English, math, science, they're really not used to using the technology for that. And I thought, wow, this could be easy for the rest of the teachers to learn. And the rest is history. We now have a little bit over 300 students at the school, and they're all preparing to leave the school with a digital portfolio.
That's really great. So let's talk a little bit about the teachers that don't have that natural inclination to, turn to a digital portfolio as part of their lessons and the coursework that their students do throughout the year. What did you do to bring everyone along and to make the integration and the implementation of Bulb something that could be successful across all subject areas in your school?
Sure. Well, I definitely, just like with students, lead by example. So when I returned from TCEA, I had to give the training to my fellow teachers, and I used Bulb.
Right.
So I don't know if you notice right here, I have professional development, and I'm going to go ahead and click on my Bulb. And once I did that, I had the TCA convention takeaways, and this is how I presented to my peers. So it was very raw. I actually did it while I was there, and I saw how easy it was to use. And from there, some of the teachers, the excitement grew because they saw how easy it was for me to get to, just a few clicks. And I was able to add images, and this was with the free version, and I was able to do a lot. Then our principal, Dr. Melissa Alcala, approved that we could use this format because it was, like I said, very easy. And I kept thinking of a way, how could I get teachers and the students on board and excited about things. So I decided to try something different, and we did a bulbathon.
Ah,
And
very clever.
so we had our first ever bulbathon last year.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about the bulbathon. The bulbathon. What was it? What did you do? Because it sounds like a big festival.
Let me go back to everything. So I had to, um, like I said, think of a way to get the idea of bulb out and to all the students, get them on board. And we went ahead and got them all digital portfolios. So I planned out a big kickoff,
Mm-hmm.
and we are a PBL school, so that's project-based learning. So I kind of use that whole model to do our bulbathon. And each class, we have like a homeroom, it's called our Avid class. I gave them something that they could do all the way Monday through Friday. And this was what the teachers could do with the students so they can learn. And then we had some guest speakers come in. We had a speaker who talked about storytelling. So if you notice right here, we had a rally, and I just gave a schedule and added a couple videos in there. And also, I think Tuesday it was, oops, sorry. It was a little bit more about what goes in a portfolio. So just adding a lot of different information in about a 45-minute time frame. And also throughout the school, we had select bulbs on our TVs showing throughout the week. So that was neat. That actually helped the students a little bit more because I saw them getting a little more competitive, and they're like, oh, my bulb needs to be better than that. How come my bulb isn't up there? So it was interesting to see that the kids interact that way.
Yeah, kids are they always want to do their very best. And I think that's one of the really nice things about a digital portfolio is you can really allow students to showcase what they know and put that knowledge to use in a way that really is in their own voice and their own style, right? And I don't know if you hear that from your students. Do you?
So now they're the user experience design students.
Ah,
They're really excited about just the banner. So I told them it took me 4 weeks to decide what kind of banner I really wanted. And, they take ownership of just that design.
mm-hmm.
So they're excited. Of course, we have some extra tools that we can tweak some of the images, and everybody can find great images. I think now it's with Unsplash, that bulb, it's easy to get images that they need to try to communicate their voice.
Mm-hmm.
We just really, at least I give them a lot of time to think about what's your banner going to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing you'll see. So just with the banner, I see them trying to outdo each other.
but what's the power of the banner image? Why do you think that's so important for students? You work with students every day, so I think help us understand just the importance of that visual.
Right. So in our case, we're getting our kids ready for junior and senior year, the work-based learning with the internships. And we actually have industry partners that come in and tour our school. And I had a CEO that came into my classroom, and he saw our students working on the bulb, and he said, oh, that's how I hire people at my company. And I asked him to elaborate a little bit more. And he said, well, the resume is okay, but I want to see a portfolio. I want to see what you can do. And when my students heard that, they got it right away that, okay, this is a place where I can show you what I can do. Because sometimes we're not always extremely articulate. We know how hard resume writing is. And for some kids, this is easier because they like talking about themselves. They like saying, look at what I can do. And what's hard at first, the freshmen, they wanted to get everything perfect, but as teachers, we tell them, we want to see the journey of your learning. And at the junior level, I'm seeing that they get that. They're not afraid to put images or audio or something in there that wasn't too great, but then look at the end product. So we know that
if they have an opportunity for an internship, they could say, here's my portfolio, here's what I can do. And that's a powerful tool. And now they know they could even use it for to get into potential colleges also.
Have you had any students that have secured an internship or used their portfolio to get into a college?
So our students are only in 11th grade yet.
Oh, right. Yes.
But so we're hoping, yes, it's going to get them there. We have quite a few students that have used the digital portfolios. One was Jason Salazar, and uh, he was up for an internship for computer science, and they asked if he had a portfolio. And
Mhm.
he admitted, my portfolio wasn't the best. I could do a little bit better, but he told them yes. He cleaned it up and he sent it to them. And I can't remember the name of the company now, but he had an internship over the summer with them. And we have another student, Karina Vaughn, who had an internship with a nonprofit called SOS, and she helped get used Bulb for them. So it was like seeing, hey, you can even use this for your organization, and they saw what she could do, and they thought that was fabulous.
Excellent. So the students are seeing the impact. You're seeing the impact. It's a different way of measuring what students know, and I'm just curious how you're folding that into the more traditional way of measuring competencies, or
Right.
maybe you're not. Maybe this is the new way. Tell us about that.
Well, and everything is a work in progress. So I played with the idea of portfolios to help me with teaching. So if you notice in my bulb, I have quite a few collections and pages, but project-based learning, that's what our school was created for. Um, I kept track of all of the projects I've done with since 3 years ago with my freshmen. So the first one, and you'll see the progression, it was a logo design PBL to now. I just finished this project with my freshmen, but for example, the set the tone PBL. So how I lay things out when it's much of a flipped classroom and we do stations. So when I'm working with 10 students, individual teach, I may have 10 students that are going through my bulb and learning how to get started on the project. So I try to lay things out, a lot of graphics. I do some videos where I create videos and I put them on there. So it's very much self-guided, and they know they can work on their own timeline as long as they meet the deadlines. But I let them know how to organize their projects. I tell them how to turn things in with Google Classroom. And you notice I can have the comment part down there. So that helps me when I'm at home and the kids have a question, I can still help any way that I can. So project-based learning for me, that's what I right away instantly I said I can use this tool. But I like to show another teacher at the school. Her name is Melissa Quintanilla Vasquez, and she's our English teacher. So she started using Bulb last year, and you see how she has a little bit about her, and she highlighted some of the fun stuff that the students are doing, which I think they need to see. So in the learning, so there's we love the carousel feature. So it's a great way for kids to just show off what they're doing.
Mhm.
But I'll be honest, I was looking through her portfolio and I thought this was genius. I didn't do it. For this school year, she's starting a parent information page. And like, that is great. So if parents, we can get the information out right away instead of having to do a website. But here's how one of her students used it. I want to highlight Shawn Eggleston. So he has his wonderful About Me page. I'm going to just do a little click on it. But I know this is going to grow because now he's a sophomore. And I think that's what's fun for the kids is they see that it's a work in progress, kind of like journaling,
Mhm.
which he is our cybersecurity pathway, which writing sometimes isn't that fun, but with that little bit of technology, we can get some of the students to partake in it.
But for the ninth grade year, you see how he laid out all of his classes that he had, and I'm going to do the English class. So he has quite a bit of artifacts from Miss Quintanilla Vasquez's class, but I was reading his poetry project, and he decided to go ahead and just put his poetry on there. And it's just really neat to see how other teachers implement it, and how the kids are taken to it.
Well, and then one thing for folks who maybe are listening in and learning is that any sort of content can be stored in Bulb, and it's with the student for life. And so I think it's really wonderful to see the students, you know, organizing their portfolios the way they are, so their work stays with them kind of throughout their time, not just at Tech but beyond, right?
Yes, and hopefully in college. And we actually had a UX designer who saw Bulb, and thought it was a neat platform. So the students realized they could take this into their professional life as well.
Right. Well, you know, we know that trailblazing isn't for everyone. Clearly, you're like fish to water with trailblazing. You're just paving the way there and doing a wonderful job. I'm impressed by every time I talk to you. I'm impressed by what's new and what you guys are doing in your school down there. But for those folks who are maybe a little less bold, what are some of the like 3 to 5 tips and like things that you can share, lessons learned that you know might be helpful for someone watching or listening?
So, sure. And I'm going to attribute some to age, because as I get older, I'm realizing what do I have to lose. So I'm getting rid of the inhibitions. But the first part that drives me is I need to create opportunities for kids. So I have to get rid of any fear or inhibitions I have, if I know it's the right thing to do, for opportunities for my students and hopefully more students. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail too, and use your voice. I planned everything out before I went to my principal and said, hey, this is what we need. This is what we need to do. So I did my research first before just diving in. And I believe if your heart is in the right place for the kids, you can do anything. But most importantly, if we're doing this stuff and we're leading by example, then our students may possibly get so much more out of that than maybe a lesson that we taught. And one thing that I learned when I started teaching animation, and I love and I tell my kids, is Walt Disney. And he had a quote that he said about his company: around here, we don't look backwards very long, we keep moving forward. So that's what drives me to do a lot of amount of insane stuff sometimes, but if it's for the kids, then I know I'm doing the right thing.
That's awesome. So do it for the kids, be bold, do your research, lead by example. Did I get those right?
Yes, yeah, perfect.
Awesome, awesome. And what about, you know, drilling down just a little bit deeper into any of these areas, when you were introducing Bulb to your, you know, fellow teachers at the school, what were some of their responses, and what kind of hurdles did you guys have to, you know, go over together? Did you have to cross?
I'll be honest, majority of the teachers here are master teachers. So that means that we've been teaching for a while, and we do have quite a few responsibilities. We're looking at data quite a bit. So we don't have a lot of time. So when they saw, oh, this is new technology and I have to spend more time with this, that kind of can seem daunting.
Mhm.
But once if I just sat down with them, or sent them one of the training videos and said, here, just try it. Or the best way is to have the kids play around with it, um, and teach the teachers. They see how easy it is. And there still are a few, I'll be honest, that are just trying it a little bit, one page at a time, one collection at a time. And I have to just tell them, that's great. That's all you need to start off with. So it was hard just at first, because it seems overwhelming. And I'll be honest, there's some fantastic bulbs from a lot of educators and students, and it can be intimidating. So I just tell them, just right now, you don't even need a banner. Just get things started and try using it for one lesson to save some paper or see if you can do this. So if they try with one page, then that's usually when they get hooked.
Excellent. One page at a time. I love that. I really do. That's it's a good way to not be overwhelmed by the possibilities. All right, so we're almost out of time, but before we go, I just thought I would give you a moment to just tell us, I don't know if there's just one big aha moment or one moment that really stands out in your mind as, I'm so proud of what we've accomplished, and maybe how that's inspired you to really reach towards a new goal. I know you have your UX course, and if there's something else you want to keep climbing towards, but if there is, we're curious to hear.
Yes, well, definitely I saw user experience as a future, and I just want to give our students opportunities to be marketable. And like I said, not just my students at Cass Tech, but students in Texas, hopefully around the country. And I'm working with our user experience design board, the professionals, to create 2 more courses to finish the pathway, and hopefully do more training and consulting for other districts or teachers that want to do this. But the big aha moment is our freshmen have this new course called Foundations of User Experience Design, but our sophomores and juniors didn't have that. As a teacher, I just try to weave it into digital art and animation and the web design class that another teacher is teaching, Jonathan Early. And I came up with an idea to try to get the 10th graders caught up by giving a series of 6 workshops on Saturdays. And we've had 2 workshops already. And I didn't know how many students would come, but we've had 2 workshops with quite a few students that are working on a real life project or a real life organization. And they asked me if they could meet after school to do to help on the project more, because they know it's something that we're going to give to the community, this organization. And I realized if kids are coming in on Saturdays and they like this and they're getting it, then I'm on the right track and I have to keep going. So listen to the kids, and that was the aha moment for me. That we got to keep going.
That's a pretty powerful aha moment, giving up Saturdays.
Yes.
Wow, good job. Congratulations. Well, thank you so much, Belinda, for joining us this evening. Thank you, everyone who's on the line listening in. We're going to do questions by social media. So if you have some questions, or if you want to, ask a few detailed questions, go ahead and send them to us at Ballbap on either Facebook or Twitter, and we'll monitor the social media channels and get you answers, in a timely fashion or right away. So thank you again, Belinda. This is Jody Buning at Bulb, and have a great evening, everyone.
Night.